Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This is Match Media alongside my critical partner in crime, Ricardo Medina,
Hello, hello, hello.
and it's a wrap. And I don't know if you heard this, but Marge Simpson got killed off, boy.
Okay, well, I heard this news, but I didn't follow.
Yeah.
Okay, thing.
So here's the thing, huh? The Simpsons have finally cracked the code when it comes to clickbait. That's the best way I could sum it
Okay,
up, right?
right,
Because
right.
when that episode dropped, and what we're talking about is the season 36 finale of The Simpsons, right? And what this is just me just sharing just general thoughts on this episode, right? So on the finale episode of that would be episode 18, right? Yeah, Marge Simpson was killed off, right? But here's the thing, right? Before I jump
Yeah,
into
I hope it's not Brian thing. Remember they did it with Brian from Family Guy? You kill him off and then bring him back like 3 episodes of him later or whatever.
oh yeah, I forget. Right, I forget about that.
And
Right, and that was a
they make a,
thing.
yeah,
And
and they make a whole fucking thing out of it, yeah, dumb.
yeah, they make a whole thing about it, right? So keep in mind, folks, right? This is not Who Shot Mr. Burns, right? You know
Right,
the
right,
iconic
right.
two-parter episode, still
Yeah,
one of the best two-parters of
which is like
Simpsons ever
big,
made, in my opinion.
yeah, big send up at Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I remember watching that on local TV, Jed. I remember watching
Yeah,
that shit. I
yeah,
remember even before I had cable, I knew how big of a deal that was, right? But yeah,
right.
just to touch briefly on The Simpsons, right? I mean, there's no denying how iconic this show is. It is Paul Football one of the greatest, if not the greatest sitcom of all time. Just the mere fact that it wrapped up its 36th season is amazing, right? And yeah, I mean, the show just like there's no signs of it stopping, right? And that actually relates to what this episode is about, right? But I will admit, it is not a show that I watch religiously, right? Like yes, when we were young and it came out in the early 90s, yes, and when it was on local TV, yes, we would watch it, right? And we were like, oh my god, yellow character saying what the hell and ass and thing, wow, right? Because you was 5 or 6 years old, you're seeing this shit for the first time, right? But then as you get older, it's like, all right, well, I know it's part of pop culture now. Yes, there was a movie which came out in 2007, which I really did enjoy. I really did enjoy.
We should have come out. Yeah, we should have come out in 1997, in my opinion.
I know. I think they made a joke about that. Like why
Yeah.
it takes so long to make why it takes so long to put this movie
But
out.
the problem with Simpsons is that is one of those somebody make a point about it. It's like a kind of let's call this again by kind of forever basically it's like the forever chemicals of pop culture. No? It just this kind of hyper object that just sticking in our pop culture and just refuse to end because it's good money. It still make money from merchandising. And even though we all postmodern and ironic now, we get to pretend Simpsons not funny, but Simpsons, well, you understand why it shaped the space, right? But I don't know, it just is like drugs, right? You need a quicker and quicker high, so South Park and Family Guy and all these other edgier shows until that break, and then we start to get to more emotionally mature things. But like Simpsons just is like Simpsons on Disney now. Disney owns Simpsons. It's like, all right, it's done. It's like I don't know. I find the show should end, but I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, you go ahead now.
Yeah, I don't know neither, to be honest, right? I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just Fox or Disney saying, let's really see how far we can let this show go, right? So
Right.
to wrap up my preamble, right? So for me, right, like if I were to watch an episode of Simpsons right now, I would be entertained by it, but I would not be like laughing my ass off with
Yeah.
it, right? And in this particular episode, like I laugh, I chuckle in some points. I was like, oh yeah, I get that, and the nostalgia beat and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, I get, okay. But for me, I think the reason why it still exists is because Fox need to show something on Sundays, right? If you want to watch something on a Sunday night, you just put on Simpsons or there's Family Guy or American Dad or Bob's Burgers, right? It's like that, right? And God forbid if those other shows that I mentioned make it to season 36 as well, right? But yeah, I mean, Simpsons is just a show that just keeps going on and on and on, and it just I feel like it's just there to just exist. Like that's the purpose. The purpose
Yeah.
is just to see how long it could go and really force itself to keep
But
going. That's the thing.
exactly. No, yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had like so many conversations about the existence of the length of Simpsons, and especially with the advent of like all this modern technology that could play with it. Yeah, I seriously wouldn't put it past like any of these people to say AI Bart Simpson voice or whatever it is, or train generative AI on it or something like that. Like they could do that because yeah, it's literally like what close to 40 years of Simpsons at this point, so they could more than do that. stuff like that, right? It's just this weird permanent thing that yeah, I don't know if it'll end or if they have to end it. It should have ended a long time ago, but I don't know. Like I have nothing else to say about the Simpsons at this point because I don't know where they're going with it other than its own conceit. And this is coming from somebody who like these edgy stuff now going forward. Like, but as I said, I think the adult animation. We had to get into like the culture of adult animation, why it evolved the way it did. Uh, yeah, this is somebody who love Rick and Morty, right? I thought as I said, I thought it ended with Tim, with BoJack Horseman. That's it. Like they can't get better than that. It peaked. Like some shows might come and be better, but like because of the nature of BoJack Horseman and its commentary on the subject matter, that was it. It's so you can't come with anything else. So Simpsons exists after this is like beyond ridiculous now. Well, like, again, I have nothing to say because it just keep going on, and if it keep making money, then like what's me to tell them to stop making it now? We did no shameless corpos anyway, so it's fine. Like whatever, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So about this episode here, right? So boy, I think it was either last Monday or Tuesday, right? That's my own business going online, and I seen some posts from IGN. Oh, Marge Simpsons was killed off, right? And they so dread,
Right.
right? I think it is IGN, right? They so dread that they put asterisks over the ILL, so it's like, okay, we don't want to actually see the word kill, because we don't want to get blocked or whatever it is, or get make out by Zuckerberg and Facebook, right, or whatever it is, right? But yeah, that was the big thing. Mark Simpson was killed, and fans were angered at this stuff, right? I like, all right, wait, no, like seriously, this is the big announcement. This is the big piece of news that everybody has to stop and watch and see. So literally, yesterday morning, at the time of me recording this, I sat down for had breakfast and I watched the episode, and no surprise to anybody, the episode was just fine. So in a nutshell, what it is, it's not the term is not Elseworlds, right? But it's more like, okay, we're gonna see our favorite characters years on in the future. I forget what the
Right.
term is, right? How you describe it?
They do these flash forwards ever so
Flash
often.
forwards. That's it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They do
It,
these flash forwards ever so often. I did it twice, and it's probably two most famous episodes, to be honest.
okay.
Very popular. Yeah.
Yeah, but in this case, right? But the what catch me off guard, right? Just talking quickly about the episode is how how it was framed, because from the article and how they blew it up, right? It's like, oh, it's gonna be about Marge and Marge die. No, it is really centered on Lisa and Bart and their relationship, right? So it starts off with them as kids and they're being introduced to Itchy and Scratchy for the first time. Again, nostalgia berries, right? That's what it is. Nostalgia beat, nostalgia berries. That's what it is, right? And
Right.
it reached
Remember berries. Yeah.
yeah, remember berries. Sorry about that. Yeah, I forget them as Salt Park terminology. I'm sorry about that, right? But yeah, it gets to a point where they realize, oh, Itchy and Scratchy is for kids or for babies, as they say, and they just sort of write it off, right? And then over the years, as they get older, as Bart and Lisa get older, they separate from each other, right? And then, well, Marge, no, she was the one who kind of tried to put them together to watch a show together, and they pick Itchy and Scratchy, right? She feels bad now, but as well them as the normal kids that we know them as, right? They were kids since fucking 1989 or whatever it is, right? Yeah, decide that she feeling bad now, because they're not spending time together. They're on their phones or they're on the tablets watching other shows, right? And they make like nice little commentary on 90s and 2000s comedies and whatnot, So that was interesting, right? But yeah, the point is, Marge felt sad that Lisa and Bart and watching shows together. And then we just get this kind of silly montage involving Itchy and Scratchy, but it all centers on how Lisa and Bart pretty much separated over the years as they got older, and Marge just felt sadder and sadder and sadder, and eventually she dies of old age. I just have that one shot, and this was part of the whole clickbait thing that was part of the whole, oh my god, Marge is dead. Yeah, a shot of a funeral, right? And you're seeing there's a bunch of people including Homer dressed in black crying and all that kind of stuff by her tombstone, right? And that was his cell. And that moment ends, and pretty much the rest of the episode is just Lisa coming back to Springfield because she have to give this lecture, and then she more or less reunites with Bart, who is this washed up loser. He actually stays at the house with his dad and all the other older guys who's lying with Homer at the bar. I forget the names right now because yes, I haven't seen the show. Yeah, just there more or less leeching off her partner because Lisa was sending a bunch of money because the idea was supposed to send their father to a retirement home. Bart is like, nah, I just gonna take that money and just spend it on bears and strippers, right? And then yeah, one thing lead to another, lead to next, and they more or less reconcile. And then in the final scene, which was also part of the whole marketing of this whole Marge Simpson is dead clickbait shit. Yeah, you see Marge like sitting on a cloud in heaven, and she runs into Ringo Starr because apparently, as I say, the joke is, oh, we could actually marry other people in heaven. Okay, cool. So
Correct.
let me just hook up, and that's how it ends. And that's it. That's the finale, right? But the thing is, I don't know if it's something that the creators of the Simpsons did, or if it's just some people on Screen Rant who just didn't have nothing to do on a Sunday night to say, all right, let me just take this one particular episode that really really does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Let me just take one little aspect of it, one shot of it, and let me just blow it up to proportion so people think, oh my god, how dare you, Simpsons? How dare you take one of the greatest, characters, animated characters ever and kill she off? No, she didn't. She was not killed. I understand. Yes, I understand the terminology. I get it, right? But the way how they blow it up is almost like, again, like, like somebody shot her or something like that. This is not who shot Mr. Burns, It's just a flash forward episode. It's just seeing, in other words, as a wrap up here, this is literally the series. This is literally what the series finale could be. But I already know with them, they'll just probably regurgitate like about 3-4 seasons. Maybe they might hit it to season 40, God forbid, and probably wrap up there. But like you
Right.
say, the show makes money, right? It makes Fox money, so they might just
Yeah.
keep on going till they reach the season 50, and then they would have nothing else to prove, right? Whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just clickbait. It's just there to
Right.
draw eyeballs to the show. Because yeah, I would not be surprised if, as far as viewership goes, yeah, Simpsons is kind of low. But I don't know, like maybe I should just do a little digging up to see how many people actually stop what they're doing on a Sunday night to watch The Simpsons season
Right.
36 or whatever it is, right? When there's
Yeah. What
stuff
do
like
what do
American
reasons are?
Dad and other new
Right.
shows that pop up that they could watch. Like hell, I,
Yeah,
I would quicker watch Bob's Burgers over this, right?
American Dad, American Dad, all these shows, all American Dad are them old too. Like American Dad is 20 years old. Like people is talking as if American Dad is some new show. No,
Dog,
it
I,
isn't.
I
I
stopped
mean,
watching American Dad years ago, eh? And,
you're right.
and, and
I
don't
mean,
even
and
talk
it's
about
still
Family Guy. I stopped that ages
yeah.
ago.
No, I mean, the thing is, I've kept up with it because it one, it have no reason to in terms of continuity. Two, the conceit of the jokes aren't any interesting. Like I might make an attempt to watch. At best, I might see an American Dad or Family Guy clip online somewhere. Like I'll just be scrolling, your usual doom scroll crap, and I'll say, oh, okay, it have a Family Guy, clip here, and it's like, oh yeah, right, I remember this was funny, and it was from an episode I didn't see. And then I might make the episode and track down where the clip was from to see the episode, say, okay, is this funny? If the whole episode is funny. Very rarely it is. Like for me, as I said, it is coming from somebody who's still kind of keeping up with Rick and Morty, so it's fine. We had a new episode, I didn't watch it yet, stuff like that. But I don't know, like it's just like I don't know what to say or do about like the Simpsons especially, but basically all adult animation are just these forever shows, right? It'll just keep going on until the actor's dead, right? James Earl Jones was what 92 and he dead or whatever. Sorry, like that's it got go on indefinitely until these people die off. Or they could easily switch out the actors because they did that with Rick and Morty, right? And
Yeah,
or
I
AI.
think if I'm not mistaken, yes, somebody else has already replaced Bart. I don't know how much
Already,
times, but I think
somebody
yeah, there's
replaced
somebody
Bart?
new. I think so.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I
I
could be
know, I
wrong. I could
know,
be wrong.
I know this guy because he got in trouble for the insensitivity of it. Apu, right, was switched out, right? But it's his the is his name Hank Azaria is still in the show, as far as I know. But I didn't know Nancy Cartwright stopped doing Bart. Like, wow,
Oh no! Well,
but
that
she
then again, I don't know. I probably
okay,
saw
okay,
saw it online somewhere that
okay,
somebody else is playing Bart, right? I don't know, right?
okay,
But yeah, that's just to wrap things up. I mean, the episode itself is fine. Like again, I am not religiously attached to Simpsons, so I will not be
never, yeah.
guffawing every single minute, right? I saw it.
I
I was like, all right, it's
yeah,
fine. I get okay. The mere fact that they leaned so much into the old itchy and scratchy thing just felt like remember
right,
berries for me. But I
right,
get the sentiment I get of it. I get the heart of it all. But to be honest, the episode was not centered on Marge's death. It wasn't about the rest of the family processing her death and whatnot. It was just she just
right.
died and that was it, right? And I forget to mention too, they never even show oh gosh, I forget the baby's name. Yeah, this is where we reach right now. I forget the baby's name right now, right? Yeah.
Maggie, yeah.
Yeah, they never even bothered to show what's up with her. They just sent her
Well,
on Lisa and Bart and
yeah,
Homer. Like,
because the thing is, there's a kind of recurring joke in the future that she don't talk at all.
all right,
So they
Maggie,
had like,
duh, Maggie, I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. She don't talk, and the joke is like when she became a rock star, and like that is one of the future scenarios they did,
All
and they just
right,
make a bunch of
I think I
they
remember
made a
that.
bunch of
Yeah,
future
mm,
yeah they made a bunch of future jokes, and that was about it. So I remember that.
yeah,
As I said, since the movie, I've not given a shit about the Simpsons, and that is like close to 20 years ago. So it's
yeah,
like whatever, moving
yeah.
on. I don't want to care or move on. Like it's like look, it's something that just evergreen, and it'll just keep making money indefinitely. But because of the nature of Simpsons as being commentary on pop culture, it itself being pop culture, so how are you going to make fun of it? Is one of
I
those
think it
things that just
stopped being that, and I didn't even notice that
yeah,
with
it's
this
been that a
episode.
long
Like
time.
the mere fact that
Exactly.
you have to dig back in your bag to go to early 90s Itchy and Scratchy. Because we're seeing clips of this. I forgot to mention, right? Throughout the show, right? We talking about early Itchy and Scratchy stuff, right? Yeah, it's like, boy, like you're really scraping the barrel for material, Dread. You know what I mean? See,
Right.
at the end of the day, just because again, I really want to find out if it is the Simpsons did that moment on purpose, or if it's just some random guy on IndieWire, whoever it is, who really have nothing to do on a Sunday night, just happened to stumble on this episode and spent
Oh no,
2 hours
all of them,
writing the shit.
all of them,
Yeah, just blew this
yeah,
thing
like
out of
people,
proportion. I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know.
No, people complain about AI and thing, and yeah, AI sucks for the slop, but like it always had slop long before these things, you know. So people used to just make up these I forget what it is, Screen Rant or one of these terrible websites. I just have to push out noise in your face about this thing, and it's an inconsequential thing about some mod or something like that. It's like, geez, boy, like, anything for clicks and to get paid, boy. But whatever, they had to eat their food, so moving on. I don't know. Like, I think Simpsons is one of those things. I'm not sure where to go with Simpsons. If again, as I said, nothing else to say about it as in its current incarnation. But I know some people say how you could reset the show. So like a lot of lost characters you could bring back or focus on other people or do something like that. Like just make it generally Springfield, and it have to be the Simpsons. What happened to Disco Stew or something like that, and evolve that character or do something. I'm not sure. But like to be honest, it is something that just was never interesting. It's not been interesting a long time ago for me, and yeah, as I say, it is great clickbait because like, oh, they're gonna kill off a character, and in my head, the last time they kind of kill off a big character was Flanders' wife. Okay, so they could kill Marge, and like that's the only important character, like because she like real center and she's kind of the moral coalition for many people now. Like, alright, cool, do something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
last thing, and then we move on, right? So, I am not, an expert when it comes to sitcoms, right? But like, take for example, like Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon, but in particular, Family Guy and the Cleveland Show. I think Fox
right,
would not want to attempt to do a spin-off of The Simpsons, but sorry, with a world as vast as Springfield, right? It sounds funny when I
right.
say it, but think about it. There's a shit ton of characters that come out of this show, right? And the decades of content, right? Yeah, you could actually do a spin-off show, but I don't think
Right.
Fox will make the
No,
effort because of, the Cleveland show, just doing
no,
poorly.
yeah, no, right. No, in case of Cleveland Show was just, I think it was just generally a bad idea. Like, I didn't never thought Cleveland was interesting enough. I always said if you're doing a spin-off, it should be Quagmire. Um, if it's anybody, because one, he's like a legit funny character, even though he gross and incredibly problematic. But the mere fact that he was a pilot, you could have do something with that. Like, you don't have to be in thing what you doing as a pilot, and you could have fucking go anywhere with that, literally, in the narrative now. So I don't know. Whatever. Talking about arbitrary sitcoms I don't really give a shit about, even though I'm still watching Rick and Morty, and it's still kind of funny. I don't know,
Yeah.
moving on. I
Yeah,
it's hard
moving
for me
on.
to think. It's hard for me to think how these shows should be relevant. That's my problem with these shows now.
Hmm.
Like the relevance of the adult animation sitcom kind of done for me. Like I don't know how these things still relevant. Like the only one that kind of new and interesting is Smiling Friends, and I still haven't taken that in. I heard that's okay,
Right,
but I never
I
took it
haven't
in.
started that to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I never got into that, but I think that's in the third season now. I might make an effort, but like again, I think I'm too old for this as the adult animation. I think it's perfect for like a teenager, young adult. Once you cross 25, that stuff start being like genuinely funny and appealing to you because like yeah, you run through the scenarios and is again the psychology and the social psychology of the adult animation comedy sitcom and its effect on American pop culture is fascinating on its own conceit. And I really want to see somebody like write something interesting on that. And how it evolved over the years, it get more mature, but in some ways it didn't. The role of adult swim and all of that, and so on and so forth, right? But yeah, as I say, Simpsons is the evergreen thing that just needs to done. People say since people for 20 years saying the show should get cancelled. So like, we gotta tell them.
You
Anyway,
know.
yeah, I don't. Well said. Have to say for that.
No, that's pretty much it. Just Simpsons right now, just running on fumes. I guesstimate that they will just go on for 4 more seasons and wrap up at season
Right,
40. I think 40 is
right.
a
What is
great
a wrong
number
number? Right,
to go
right.
out
A nice
on.
round
I mean,
number.
it's not 35. It's not 35. Just saying, but 40 is a good amount. But it's just how much ideas it could literally try to cough up, in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I guess
Whatever.
you'll see. Moving on. Moving on.